With an update on The Rock appearing at SummerSlam and more, this is Wrestling Rambles. My name is John, and you're watching The Wrestling Report. On his one-of-a-kind podcast, Rob Van Dam was asked how he got along with Stephanie McMahon during the invasion angle, saying, "Great, yeah, she was always cool. Yeah, I used to at first. Before I got, maybe I always still, I don't know. I used to always, this is probably weird, because someone else, I think, I've only told one more person this and they thought it sounded weird. But I felt kind of dirty around her in a way that, like, I don't want to hold a baby, you know? In a sense, I want to wash my hands first, whatever, because I'm probably dirty or whatever. I just felt like here's the billion-dollar princess, and then I just felt like here I am, like my shirt is soaked in sweat from stretching, and I'm like, oh, hey Stephanie," hugs her, and for some reason every single time I hugged her, my shoulder hits her right in the chin. Still does every time, guaranteed. I don't know what it is. It's bam. And with Stephanie, I used to step on her toe too, and I always just kind of felt like I was on the other side of the fence between, like, this is going to be taken the wrong way probably, but that's how I felt. I felt like they're the Flash peddlers and we're just the talent. Like, that's how I felt. When I first got there, they wanted me to do a bit of a romance angle with Stephanie and myself, and my evil ex was like the most insecure bitch on the planet, and I was like thinking, oh my god, this is going to cost me so much grief at home. We had a talk, me and Stephanie, and she said, you know, just think of this like you're an actor. I was like, that's cool, except you call me Joe Blow because I've been Rob Van Dam for the last 10 years. When asked about having any problems with CM Punk, The Undertaker told Inside the Ropes, "I had no beef with Punk. He was always business with me. Supposedly, I squashed his push and stuff, and if anyone knows me, even if I didn't like somebody, which I don't dislike Punk, that's another rumor that I have this disdain with him, he was good with me, and that's all that matters. Business is business, and that's one thing I learned from Vince is that whatever's best for business, then that's what you do. And so I can't worry about what people have no clue about our business. Business has always been business, and I have no problem with him, and he was always business with me." Explaining the difference in philosophies when it comes to how Triple H and Vince McMahon view managers, Sean Ross Sapp noted during a Fightful Q&A, was brought back primarily to manage the Vikings, just primarily. I don't know that there was a heavy discussion of wrestling, but it was always potential. Vince didn't like to have women's managers on the roster that just didn't wrestle, and Triple H was much more open to that. That's why we're seeing, like, Rhea is a manager and a wrestler, but she's a wrestler first. Zelina, a manager and a wrestler who was a manager first, now is a wrestler first. And now we've got Valhalla, who is a manager first and sometimes a wrestler. Maxine Dupree fits in that as well. It's a difference of philosophies. Talking about the return of Trish Stratus to WWE, Melina told Muscleman Malcolm only certain personality types or the company's chosen people are allowed to do that because we could bring back a Jazz, and they are the ones who enhanced Trish's career. So there are people who made Trish look good, there are people who enhanced her, who taught her that, who carried her through matches. They need their credit. If only we could bring them back, but we don't want to bring them back because we only have the people we choose. Not so much, I must say me, I don't care if I don't ever go back or not. I'm happy with any opportunity I get. Speaking about how Daniel Puder was hit with hard chops by Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, and Hardcore Holly in the 2005 Royal Rumble match, as Puder had previously shot on Kurt Angle applying a Kimura, Angle revealed what happened in the aftermath, telling Inside the Ropes, not long after that, Daniel didn't work out and they ended up letting him go. And the thing is, they did offer him another deal, but this son of a said, I want more money. Okay, he didn't even do anything in WWE yet, and here he is demanding more money. So they said, okay, we're going to turn you down. And unfortunately, I think Daniel Puder would have had a pretty decent career if he would have been cool about everything, but I think because he wasn't, his career ended very quickly, and it's unfortunate because he was a talented kid. It appears that Drew McIntyre won't be able to make it for Raw this week, as Dave Meltzer said on Wrestling Observer Radio. He's been shooting a movie in Budapest, Hungary, and next week, that's where he will be. So he won't be there at Raw because he'll be in Budapest. Sticking with McIntyre, he said this to TMZ Sports about a potential match against Logan Paul. Maybe down the line, we'll get a match with each other and he can try some of his high-flying moves. Unfortunately, for him, I'm very grounded, so I'm going to chop him to pieces. Recalling his previous relationship with Becky Lynch, comedian Jeff Dye revealed that a WWE writer wanted to shave her head, telling Wrestling with Freddie, "When I was with Becky, they didn't know what to do with her, and there was a writer that pitched like, what if we have you just shave your head and act like you're having a breakdown?" And Becky was like, no. It wasn't even going to move forward. They were like, no, we think that's a cool idea. The writer pitched like she would have to shave her head. Becky said, I'm not going to shave my head. What are you talking about? And so it never took off because Becky stood her ground and was like, I'm not doing that. They never did it, which made me wonder if maybe Shotzi was like, I'm going to shave my head for this thing, and then that same writer was like, my story is going to get big. Wait, what? I have a thing for this. Mentioning how he nearly retired after the tragic passing of his brother, Mark Briscoe told the AEW Unrestricted podcast, "You know, when it first happened, I was almost like, well, I don't know if I ever want to wrestle again. And then as the hours go, it's almost like, shh, Jameen will be pissed if I, you know what I mean? If I hung up the boots now, he'd be mad as hell." Revealing why Wardlow has not been around in AEW recently, it was said by Fightful that I was told that there was an issue with somebody recently that couldn't get into Canada because of a passport thing, but I wasn't told who. I do know that Wardlow had his taken out of his car when it got broken into. Speaking about the reactions that LA Knight is getting in WWE, former writer for the company Vince Russo said this on his podcast. "Bro, mark my words. When you play to the crowd, it's short-lived. It's like Seth singing, and you just mentioned Bray. Bray never played to the crowd. Austin never played to the crowd. The Rock never played to the crowd. If you play to the crowd, what that means is, okay, I'm over now, and I'm going to go out there and keep doing and saying the same thing. And then when you go out there and say the same thing for 3 or 6 months, they are tired of it." With an injury angle taking place during the match between Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar on Smackdown, Dave Meltzer gave an update on the situation with Rey, saying on Wrestling Observer Radio, "So he's fine. He did the match with Santos Escobar. I was told it was a move by Santos that knocked Rey silly, but it was not the dive. The dive was the excuse to call the match off. They had already decided to call the match, and the dive was an out they used to call off the match." Touching on a babyface turn for Roman Reigns in the future, Jim Cornette said on his drive-through podcast, "So it's, it's gonna happen. It has to happen. But they don't need to just say, oh, we want to turn him babyface now. Who can we put him with? That doesn't need to happen. It needs to be obvious to everybody, here's the guy." But John Cena never turned heel after he returned babyface. Is Reigns so good as a heel that you shouldn't turn him babyface again? Well, no. Cena never turned heel because the merchandise sales and the Make-A-Wish. Going the opposite, no. Roman Reigns, because he is such a good heel, will eventually, and whether it's I would assume it would be the riding off into the twilight of his career. I'm not saying wait till he's 60, who knows how much longer he's going to do this, but it would be for a last run of a year or two, and he already makes sporadic appearances, so they wouldn't be beating it to death, but it needs to happen because when you get so good at being bad, the people like it. Roddy Piper, Steve Austin, Jerry Lawler, through territories in history, it's going to happen. As Matt Riddle has been absent from WWE programming, some think this may be connected with his recently leaked nude video on social media. It was noted that Ringside News was able to confirm with a tenured member of the WWE creative team that Matt Riddle did not get any time off due to Misha Montana's pregnancy. He just isn't factored into any creative plans heading into Summerslam. For a health update on AEW star Kyle O'Reilly, who has been out of action since June of last year, Fightful said this regarding his condition. Same as Big E, it's a broken neck. Fixed the broken neck, and a long time before he returns, if ever. With rumors of a WWE legend returning to Summerslam to have a segment with Grayson Waller, many think it could be The Rock. Ringside News gave an update on this writing. We previously reported that Dave Meltzer noted on Wrestling Observer Radio that I asked if there's going to be somebody else, and they said, I don't know, maybe, so who knows? I mean, he could do it. I don't know if Dwayne Johnson will come back, but if he's going to do it for something, it's going to be for 50,000 fans in Detroit, which is this show. I don't know what he's doing again. I know there's a strike and everything, but he's always doing something. Ringside News asked about plans for The Rock at SummerSlam and whether anything is being worked up for him and Grayson Waller. A tenured member of the creative team told us that if it's true, which I doubt, it has not been shared with the writing staff. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.